So hello everyone. Finally the day has arrived and MBA CET exams have started. So today was day 1. Slot 1 has already been completed. So this is a detailed analysis of the slot 1 so that those students who are going in for day 2 of the exam or day 3 of the exam can benefit from this, right? So let me give you a detailed overview, right? First of all, let us discuss the paper pattern. So there was the paper pattern was the same. There were 75 questions in LR, 25 in abstract reasoning, 50 in quant plus DI, right? There is a clear breakup. DI had 10 questions and quant had 40 questions, right? And under VARC, you had a total of 50 questions. 4 RCs had come, 5 questions each, so 20 questions in RC and 30 questions in verbal ability or your grammar and vocab application, right? So you had 200 questions. That is your standard, right? There was no negative marking, +1 for each correct answer, right? Okay. So what was the ideal time distribution that you could have given? Now, overall, let me give you an analysis. Overall, the feedback from all the students and faculties is that the paper was easy to moderate. The paper was easy to moderate, right? So if you feel that you have done really well, then obviously that's nice. But let me give you a clear-cut idea that percentile is relative, right? So it will be easy for everyone, right? So you had to do really well in order to, score well in this particular exam, right? To score a good percentile, your raw score might be more, but for percentile you need to score more, right? So what was the ideal time distribution? You could have started with any section of your choice, right? Whatever you feel comfortable, what was your strongest section, you could have started, right? Okay, so okay, let's discuss section by section. But prior to that, those students going in for tomorrow, I'll just give you a very important note. Now, some of the students have given a feedback. There are, your entire screen is divided into 3 columns. Okay, so the first leftmost column is your questions, the middle column is your answer options, and the rightmost column is your section switch column, right? So what happens is, because the section switch column is a little big, your question column becomes a little small, right? So you're unable to view the questions clearly. Okay, so there is some problem regarding that. Now, if you read the instructions carefully, it is clearly mentioned that the section switch column can be hidden, it can be minimized. So you make sure that you minimize that column, so these first 2 columns get elongated and there is a clear visual of the questions. Okay, so keep that in mind, very important. Okay, then secondly, now under the question box you have a scroll bar. Okay, that is not clearly visible, but if you hover over it, if you take your mouse over it, if you take your cursor over it, then you can see that scroll bar. But okay, so it's only visible once you go below that question box and then you can scroll it. So, and once you hide the section switch column, definitely then you don't need to scroll much, so scrolling will be minimized. So keep these 2 pointers in mind, right? Okay, then okay, so what was the order? Now let's start with the order. Now, supposingly you start with VARC, good return on investment, you can do maximum questions in less amount of time. You could have started with VARC, VA 30 questions, as I said, and RC had 20 questions. There were 4 RCs. One of them was on, cyber security. One was on tariffs. One was on electric vehicles, and one was on women empowerment. Right. So all these, topics are quite trending. Yes, electric vehicles, women empowerment, cyber security, and you should have good knowledge about them. Right. Now, see, these passages were easy. The overall feedback is that passages were easy. And as I told you, you do not need to compulsorily read the passage to answer the questions. I've told you multiple times, you do not need to actually read the complete, passage to answer the questions. You just use your common sense, you use your common logic. Sometimes the passage is mostly information based, fact based, you can answer directly. So such were the passages. So some of the students solved it without even reading it and they got it right. Right? Okay, so then you had, okay, the passages were also short, they were not lengthy, they were of medium length, right? 4 to 5 paragraphs of 3 to 4 sentences each. Okay, then comes your verbal ability part. That was also doable. Mostly it was grammar heavy, right? Sentence correction was there, active passive voice was there. Make sure if you have not revised these topics, revise them today. Active passive voice was there, synonyms and antonyms were there, but they were quite manageable, not many tough words. Idioms were there. We did practice so many times idioms in the classes, right? We did practice them, right? So I hope you did well over there in that section. Idioms is basically muhavre in Hindi. Okay, aa बैल मुझे मार अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारना. In English, those are called idioms, right? Once in a blue moon, right? Very rarely. Or let the sleeping dogs lie. Let the matter that has been happened rest in peace, right? Don't bring it up again. So, okay. So that was the overall verbal ability thing, but overall it was manageable, quite doable. Ideally, you should have spent around 30 minutes for the verbal section. That was completely manageable, right? Ideally, if you are really smart, you could have gone up to 25 minutes. If you were verbal is a little weak, you could have managed within 35 minutes, 35 odd minutes. That was doable. Okay. Now let's go to the next section. Next, ideally, you should have gone for LR. Now, obviously, as I told you, you should attempt this exam in rounds. No, round one, you will do all the easy and medium questions. Then you will go to round two. But overall, I'm giving an entire, scenario of the particular section. Okay. Now let's go to LR. LR had 75 questions. You could have managed these 75 questions in around 60-65 minutes. Okay. Around 10-15 of them were difficult. You could have left them and easily scored 60 out of 60 minutes, 60 questions for the rest of them. Now, there were some logic based puzzles that were there, right? Series completion was there. What will be the next term in the series? Quite popular questions. Find the odd term in the series. This we had practiced a lot, right? Input output sequencing, right? You need to figure out what is the pattern, and then accordingly you need to apply the same pattern or same logic to other questions or set of sentences that they will give, right? So there 5 questions you had around input output tracing. Then you have calendars. Calendars you had around 3-4 questions. We did recently revise calendars and clocks, as you remember, right? Calendars is very important. 3 to 4 questions were on calendar, and around 5 to 6 questions on clocks. We did have the direct formula. Yes, if you guys know what is the direct formula to easily calculate, the angle between clocks. Yes, 5 to 6 questions, direct questions, right? Okay. There were some questions on time speed distance in LR as well. Now this is surprising, some questions on time speed distance, but it must be mostly reasoning based. That is why they asked it, right? Then you have alphanumeric series, right? Alphabets and numbers combined, alphanumeric series, some questions on that. Then you had arrangement based questions, circular and circular based questions, linear arrangement, but height based arrangement, right? Ascending descending order. But surprisingly, there were no caselets. There were no caselets. So it was, I don't know whether it was a good thing, but I think positively, caselets is one of the sections where students have a problem with. They spend a lot of time solving the caselets. So this was really good. This was really good. There were no caselets at all, right? And all the circular, linear and height based arrangements were, singlets. So you could have managed, 3-4 people, 4-5 people here and there, right? Then you had missing numbers. Missing numbers was there, which we practiced a lot. Yes. Then there's a square box given. You need to identify the pattern and find the missing number. There's a circle given, 4 boxes, right? 3-4 numbers here, 3-4 numbers here. Then another circle. You need to find the missing number. These kind of questions were there. One variety was there in input output tracing, where you were given a set of instructions. Arrange the numbers in ascending order, in descending order. Multiply the second number. Then finally multiply the second digit of the second number from the third digit of from the left side with the second number from the right side and its third digit. So such kind of problems were there, but it was manageable if you stay focused, stay confident. Yes, you could have solved this easily. Okay. And there were standard syllogism questions, 4 to 5 of them, right? So overall LR, the feedback is that 60-65 were manageable, 10-15 were a little tricky, not tough, a little tricky, but could have been left or could have been attempted in the end. So that's about LR section. Next, you could have ideally gone to the abstract reasoning section, right? 25 questions are there, as you know. And abstract reasoning, once again, the feedback is easy to manageable, doable questions. 20 could have been easily managed, right? Then you had a series completion, yes, in image based series. Then you had counting of figures. Okay, counting of figures was there. Counting of triangles, counting of squares, circles, rhombus. 6 to 7 questions were there. They were a little time consuming, tricky, but approximately you could have just guessed 1 2 3 4, how many I can find, 15, which is the option more than 15, then or around 15. You could have approximately done that. Don't spend too much time if you're not getting any answer. Just mark the closest one and move ahead, right? Okay. So there was paper folding and all. The cube, you unfold it, and then if you fold it, then which number will be opposite to which number? Yes, that's we had practiced. 18 to 19 series based questions, odd one out questions, analogy based questions. In image based. Okay, abstract is image reasoning. So odd image out, then series and analogy based. This is to this, then this is to what. All this you could have done. Overall, the feedback is 18-20 were easily manageable. Leave the rest 5. As I told you, skipping is also very important. You need question selection is very important, right? Okay. Then finally comes your quant section. 40 plus was easily manageable. This is what the feedback is. If you are good in quant, 40 plus you could have targeted, and if your quant is average, easily you could have got anywhere around 25 to 30, right? That was possible. Now, direct formula based questions. Yesterday in our video, I told you what is the thing that you need to do today. Revise quant formulas, right? Revise quant formulas. There were direct formula based questions, a lot of them, right? Okay. So arithmetic was 20-25%, 20-25 questions. Yes. Then you have numbers. In numbers, you have HCF, LCM, and some calculation based approximate calculations, under root of something 289 plus 33% of so and so minus 22% of so and so. So approximate calculation, as we discussed, right? Algebra had lesser number of questions, not directly square roots based questions, lesser number of questions, around less than 5, right? Mostly based on linear equations, ages and all. Come on now ages is an easy chapter. You just need to make the equation and solve it, right? It was simple linear equation based questions in algebra. Then you have geometry and mensuration, right? Mensuration, again, triangles, yes, area of triangle, surface area of triangle, perimeter of triangle. Then you have volume based questions, direct formula. Surface area based questions, direct formula. Once again, that is what I told you yesterday to revise. Modern maths, some questions on probability, PNC and series completion. So geometry, mensuration, around 5 questions. Modern maths, around again 5 questions. Probability, PNC, and some series based questions, but all of them easy. Yes, summation of series Sn is n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d, or n by 2 into a plus l, right? Direct formula. Okay, then DI you had 10 questions. There were 2 sets. One was on expenses. There were 5 questions on that. Yes. Okay, and then you had a pie chart and table based question. There was a mixed question on pie chart and table, where boys to girls ratio was given. You need to calculate that, right? Okay, there were some questions on averages. There were the mixtures and allegations was there. Under arithmetic, you had, partnership based question. We did practice this recently. Yes, investment into time is profit ratio, right? Investment into time, profit ratio. किसने कितना इन्वेस्ट किया, कितने टाइम ड्यूरेशन के लिए किया, प्रॉफिट का रेशियो आ गया, टोटल प्रॉफिट इतना है, टोटल रेशियो इतना है, इनटू फैक्टर निकालो, किसका प्रॉफिट कितना है निकल आएगा, राइट? ओके. Ratio and proportion, time, speed, distance, averages, mixtures and allegation, time and work, right? All these manageable topics. Partnership heavy tha, 5 to 6 questions, wo bhi manageable tha under arithmetic. So most of it was manageable. Ideally, you could have done 40 questions in 45 to 50 minutes. Okay. So overall feedback is that, it was easier than last year. Okay. And what was the ideal time split? You could have done apps. So what you could have done, ideal time split, let me tell you, if you're targeting, good top colleges like JBIMS 99 percentile, then you could have managed LR in around verbal ability in around 30 minutes, then LR in around 60 minutes, followed by quant in 45 minutes, and abstract in around 20 minutes. Now you could have mix matched these sections according to your strength and your capabilities, but this was the ideal thing. Now I'll tell you, now if someone is looking to top the exam, or if you look at the score of CET topper, okay, so anywhere VARC 40 plus is manageable, LR 60 plus is manageable, quant 40 plus, and abstract 20 plus. So a topper might score around 160 plus, right? So for 99.9 percentile, 160 plus you can expect. Topper might go up to 170, 175, 180 also. This was an easy to moderate exam. Okay. But ideally, if you're looking for 99.9, 160 plus is a very good score. Right? Okay. So that's the overall analysis of the slot 1, guys. I hope you did well. Most of the students have called me. They said it was an easy exam. Yes, if it is easy, it's easy for everyone. That's the point to be noted. Now let us look at this, let us wait for the slot to complete, and then we will have a look at the analysis of slot 2 as well, right? So all the best, guys, to everyone. I hope you like the analysis, and stay tuned to our channel, subscribe to our channel to get such important and informative content regularly and time to time. I am Amit Sirsagar from KATEC. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for your time. Okay, thank you, guys.